Violet wins. Lyra Heartstrings, A True Love by Swedish Dub. Ever since Violet Wins moved to Ponyville at least 2 years ago, he had a lot of great friends over time when he moved there. At first he had a little bit hard to find new friends, but since he has this passion for music, he get very good friends in Octavia, Vinyl, and even in Lyra. And even though sometimes he often wants to do something else in his life. Even he works as a musician and even as a part-time music teacher at one of the local schools. But there was just one thing he else wanted most, that he wanted to find his true special someone. And of course, he had dated a few mares in town over the next year. But some of them were only lasted for a couple of days, for a couple of weeks, a few months, but none of those ponies didn't last much longer. One did last for about 6 months, but until she decided to date someone on a pony. So Violet Wins was quite alone for afterwards. Even he showed himself as happy, very much happy as anyone could be. But deep down in his heart, he was heartbroken. He was sad and mostly sorrow in his heart. He wanted to be around his special song pony. He tried to ask another few other mares out, but often they said that they were not interested in him or something else. So he decided then to spend most time by himself or with some of his friends. But he often played music in the park by himself rather than looking for his special song pony. But over the next a year later, he started to get some feelings for some special song pony. And that was for Lyra Heartstrings. He had these feelings for Lyra at least for a year earlier, because he thought that she was very beautiful, very kind, and very talented as a unicorn. But he didn't thought about this as romantic feelings, just as more friendship feelings. But that turned on much later after he found out she was actually dating another stallion at the time. But it didn't turn out so well for them between them, because the stallion was somehow cheating on her with another mare. So she broke up with him and decided to be alone or single for some time to get over it. And the only pony that she knows about this at first was actually Sweetie Drops and Violet Wings. And Violet Wings was there for her as support, and she was grateful to have him as such a great friend. But even after he got those feelings for her, he started to wonder, will he ever find his special song pony, especially like someone like Lyra? But then, for one night, he started to have dreams about him and Lyra. Often they were just talking to each other in the park, talking about music, and then suddenly they end up in more romantic environment, like they are in sunset, then kissing each other, holding hair hooves, and suddenly one dream of this is about a wedding, and then they are married and they have family together. He was very much stunned about these dreams. At first, he didn't know about those dreams, about these just random dreams that appear. But after that first night, Lyra appeared in his dreams over and over, but not the same thing. There could be completely new dreams about him and her. And at first, he didn't know about this. He tried to ignore those dreams at first, but the same dream sometimes appeared once or twice, but it always appeared in a new dream with her in it. And even then, at first he started to almost avoid, started to stop sleeping. But that affected his work, and some of his coworkers and friends told that he looked very tired for most of the times. And he often said that he hasn't slept so well and then he couldn't sleep. So, what else helped him? He often said that same thing over and over. But he knew that for sure the dreams about Lyra couldn't stop thinking. So one night, when he dreamed about her and Lyra, Luna appeared in his dream. For some time, she had noticed that the dreams about him and Lyra, and he asked her about what this dream could even mean. If it has any particular reason why he started dreaming those kind of dreams with Lyra. At first, he thought that this were just some random dreams that they were disappear within some time, but Luna said to him that was actually the dreams that his heart was telling him that someday that will happen. When? She didn't know. But when? Well, soon, maybe later, but it will happen. Because those dreams are some sort of scenarios where it can happen with his life. And Violet Winds didn't know much about it then. He started to ignore those dreams at first afterwards. But they didn't stop, they just came back and over. But that was not the only one that has those kind of dreams. In fact, Lyra also had those kind of dreams at first as well. And she had explained those dreams to Sweetie Drops, and she thought these were not just random dreams and that they will stop as well. But they just continue and back and forward. And she started to wonder, will they ever stop? And Sweetie Drops told Lyra they might stop or might not. But you have to remember, Lyra, those dreams might have been something else as a meaning. Or what do you think about what? Perhaps has some feelings for Violet Winds, like some deep feelings for him you didn't even know about it. And Lyra must stand up about that Sweetie Drops even tried to explain that Lyra had feelings for Violet Winds, but I don't know. I didn't know about that. I don't think I even have feelings for him. But what should I do? Asked Lyra. And Lyra then said to her, asked again. If Sweetie Drop said yes, you should at least tell him about this. Or talk to him about it. But why? She asked why. Well, I can't even say why, but alright. I heard from that Violet Wind had some dreams about you as well. Wait, are you serious? Yeah. But what similar kinds of you have? Romantic dreams. Are you kidding me now, Sweet Drops? No, I'm telling the truth, this is as well. And hearing that from her friend, who she trusts as much as possible. Lyra didn't know about it first. She thought this was done as a prank from Sweet Drops. But later she found out from Rarity as well, who said that those were true. And soon she realized many pony knows about this. So she went up right to Violet Winds, then asked him if this is true. Hey, Violet Winds. Oh, hi Lyra. What are you doing here? He asked when he was in the park. Oh, nothing. Just take a walk, and I want to ask you something. Oh, what is it? Well, I heard something about lately about you, me, in our dreams. And Violet Winds was more shocked to hear that Lyra had heard about his dreams. Is those talks even true? And Violet Winds didn't know how to say it. He was now speechless. He couldn't bring out the right words to say it, and just, uh, yes, they are true. He stuttered. He was a little bit scared that she might laugh at him. In fact, she didn't laugh. She just smiled and said, I kinda had the same things for same here. Wait, really? Yeah. And she explained that she had the same dreams almost every time, but different ones almost as well for almost a couple of weeks now. And she wonders at first that it's just we're going to disappear, but according to her, and that Sweetie Drop said they might be a sign of something else, like deep feelings that you didn't know about. And Violet Winds explained to Lyra that Luna had said to him in one of his dreams that might sign as deep feelings for her, without even he knew about it at first. Then Violet Winds just said, well, would you like maybe, I don't know, go out tonight or something? And she just smiled and nodded. Ah, alright, I'll pick you up at 6? Sure, said, and he walked home. Lyra went home and told Sweet Drops about this, and that was like a bomb exploded right in her face about this. She didn't know exactly how to react to that kind of news like that, but she was happy for Lyra to at least have some to go out with. And at 6 p.m., the date went on perfectly. They went to this local restaurant, and it was a blast of time for them both. They were both start talking, and then Violet Winds pulled some jokes, and both of them started laughing a much. After their first date, he even asked her out once again, and they dated for about almost 6 months before something bad happened. Lyra's old boyfriend came back and asked her to take him back. He has sorry to be so much apologize about this, and Violet Winds saw her with her old boyfriend, and he knows that will happen before. But he could say, please, I'm sorry, Lyra, I have improved myself. Believe me, I have. But Lyra said, no, I don't want you back. I love someone else now. I promise this will never happen again. Just when Violet Winds saw her, he couldn't even hear what they were talking about. He was in his own far distance. He was in fact walking up to her when he saw that her old boyfriend kissed her. He was shocked. He thought that Lyra loved him. And then he ran away as much as fast as he could. And just before, Lyra pushed her old boyfriend away. Just said to him, don't do that! I don't love you anymore. Leave me alone. I love someone else now. And she would just walked away before he tried to say, Lyra, wait, I love you. Please take me back. It was not pointless. Lyra would never do it. In fact, that was the last time she ever saw him again. Because he left the town the same day and moved to Manhattan. But the next day, Lyra tried to talk to Violet Winds about this in the park. But then, it was like she got a boot. She was like, ignored by him. I don't want to talk to you, Lyra. But why? She asked. Because of that kiss you had yesterday with your old boyfriend. I know, I saw you. And Lyra was very much taken aback, because she didn't know that Violet Winston was there, saw her. And how that much is a surprise to him. She tried to explain, but he said, I don't trust you anymore. I don't even believe what you say. But believe me, he was trying to take me. He tried to that I will try to take him back, but it isn't true. I don't know if I can even trust you again after this, he said. But Lyra started to cry, and she explained everything in every detail about what happened. When he saw that, he can even see that she was very much serious about it. And Violet Winston accepted her apology, and he said that he was sorry that he couldn't even. At first, he didn't know exactly first if he would even believe it first, but still, he didn't know exact first if he would even believe it, but now he do. He even asked her if she would like to go out with him that tonight as well, just to cheer her up, and she said yes, because for that evening was actually the local annual Ponyville's Masquerade Festival. And they actually went to this festival. And Violet went as a pirate, as Lyra she went as a princess. And they both had very much great time at it. And during the masquerade and at the festival, both of them had totally forgot about what happened earlier that day. And that was actually good, because that was something that they didn't want to go through. And Violet Winston started to love her even more and more for each day that passes. And even Lyra then started to love him even more. But then something else happened. During the winter, Violet Winds had moved back to Manhattan, but only for a few days to see his parents, because his mother was sick, and his father wasn't home at the time. He was actually in Saudi Arabia for a business trip. So Violet Winds was there to look after his mother, and Lyra didn't mind that, because she knew that he was very close to his parents about this, since they were also musicians and even business. But when Violet Winds were in Manhattan, he often visited a local jewelry store. He was looking for something to give Lyra as a gift, or something else, something special. He hasn't even talked to tell anyone about that he was planning for a proposal to Lyra. But he was not even he thought about it, but sometimes he didn't felt that he was ready and he wanted to take some more time. But then he felt now was the time for to buy a ring and wait for the right moment to ask her. He bought a ring, but it took at least another a year before he even considered about a proposal. He first told Vinyl and Rarity about this news, because those were some of the closest friends in Ponyville. They were very excited about this, but then he said, could you please don't tell anyone about this? This is still as a secret. I haven't even decided when I will do it, but this is something I want to do. And they both had a promise not to tell anything. But it took another 2 years before that even he considered to make it as official. But this time he had told his parents and even Octavia, and even Twilight and her other friends about this. And they all was actually hyperactive. They were very happy about this. But Pinky was more happy about this. She wanted to bring us as a party. But he said, no party, please. I don't want this as to be exposed as the secret now for Lyra. I want to be as a surprise to her. And Pinky was just want to throw a party, but she accepted that Vinyl Wins didn't want to make this a so big announcement yet. At least she wanted to be surprised about it. So she accepted. And then just a few days afterwards, he even proposed to her in the park with that Octavia, Vinyl, and their friends made an orchestra musical for just the right moment. And she was very much happy to be married with Vinyl Wins. But their wedding was actually held in Ponyville in the city hall. And Mayor was actually one who was performing the ceremony. Sweetie Drops, she was actually Lyra's bridesmaid, and even Spike has been asked to be Vinyl Wind's best man. Because he had many other male friends, except from Big Mac, Discord, and even Tirek. But there was another one still married who was also invited to the wedding, and that was actually Galaxy Star. She was there because she was actually she was actually Lyra's second bridesmaid. She was very close to Sweetie Drops and Lyra. And even after this wedding, Violet Winsed and Lyra went on to their honeymoon, and they went to Crystal Empire and were there for about 3 whole weeks. And they had very much a great time there. Later, they actually went to Saudi Arabia for another week on their second part of their honeymoon. They didn't mind to be in Saudi Arabia since Violet Winds has been there a few times before in his childhood. And just barely 3 years after they had been married, Violet Winds and Lyra has started to talk about maybe they should start a family. But at first they didn't know exactly how many children they want to have. Lyra said she wanted to be at least 3, and Violet Wind said, well, 1 or 2 were enough. And they actually had, a year later, a daughter, which they named Hearty Wins. Hearty Wins was actually very more like her mother, very talented in magic, but even something else. She was very good singer and also very much talent in music. She even had Octavia and even Sweetie Drops as their teacher she even had bakery in her interest as well. But she mostly wanted to train in music and magic, which she was very much talented in both. And by Hearty Wins became actually a music teacher as well in Ponyville. And she later married another musician, and they also had 4 grandchildren of their own. And that's how Lyra and Violet Wins found a true love and got a family. The end.